Hey, morning. Hey, I'm the Fort Worth Playboy, and this is a Fort Worth Playboy morning show. And Bunny has already commented right on time, as she should. Um, actually, right on time is in I should have started on time. Um, Good morning, and good morning to you. And I'm glad you're here. And what is the Fort Worth Playboy morning show about? Well, what we talk about here is game, pickup, relationships, and sex. And when I say we, it's a partnership between me and my Playboy's Bunny, and she and I will be together um, next Saturday morning and every Saturday morning going forward. We haven't set the time. It's tentatively at 7 a.m. We usually tend to go 45 minutes to an hour pretty easily, and we will be taking questions. We think that this may be the best time for people to be able to reach out and interact with us as opposed to a weekday or Sundays when there's more family orientation. Most people don't leave our stuff open in front of the wife and the kids. And that's just the way it is. So today, we always start off with a maxim, and apparently my brain's working and everything else is running behind. So let's get the maxim for today up. And today's maxim is number 77. I act like it's like a big surprise which number it's going to be. And there's around 200 of these bad boys. And women will screech louder the closer your words get to damaging or exposing vulnerabilities in their sexual market value. And we'll cover a couple of those things today. Example, things that women are aware of, but aren't open to, what would you say? It would damage their value should it be recognized, just for lack of I have to give some examples like the wall, where women hit a certain age and their attractiveness literally through genetics and habits, and they lose their physical attractiveness literally almost, you can watch an age progression, and it literally happens within like 1 year, where they just go from attractive, or would be for lack of 6 or a 7 to a 4 or 5. I mean, it just drops. And it's, so much of this is perception, and it's unconscious, and like certain youth markers and symmetry in the face. And then when it goes and it's instantaneous. It just, because it's one or the other. And when guys talk about the wall, especially around women that are not really exposed in our world, you get a lot of anger. And it's no different than if you talk to guys about game that are outside of our world. They don't believe it. Actually, they don't believe that you can learn charisma. They don't believe that you can actually like plug most girls into a system and move her from stranger to naked in your bed pretty reliably. It's hard for them to believe. So much of this stuff is like, for people that are outside of our teeny tiny little world, is almost like science fiction. But like the wall is an example of something that, when you bring it up close, and it would affect women's market value, they object to that. They object to that it actually exists, and then they object that it actually, it only works on unattractive women, and then it doesn't work on them, and then they usually eventually recognize that it is actually real and does work. There's like 4 or 5 different levels of acceptance for this stuff. And even another one that we'll cover a little bit later is like girls cutting their hair short. Girls will always go, "Oh, I just cut my hair short because I like it." And inevitably, 90% of the time, you'll find out that they had a bad breakup within the last like 3 months. Or, and there was a recent girl, celebrity that about every 7 years, she cuts her hair short right after a breakup. And this time she actually cut it short. Then the breakup was announced. It is like clockwork. You see a girl with relatively long hair show up with a bob, there's something going on in the background. It's just part of it. And again, you bring this up around women, and especially women that are not, exposed to our world. They'll object to it. They'll become angry because they know that they've cut their hair after a breakup with a guy trying to, re-identify, or, like someone will go, well, he really liked my long hair, so I wanted to get rid of it. That sort of thing. A lot of times they're just trying to reset their brain, and they do that through their appearance. But anytime you bring anything up, you will know, and they object to it. And the more violently and stringently and loudly they object to it, the closer to the truth you've reached. I just wanted to change. That's it. Thank you, buddy. That's why we're going to start doing this on Saturday mornings. We get to use her brain. Hopefully everybody will be fresh. But that's perfect. I just wanted to change, is what Buddy says when girls cut their hair off. And it really does, in almost all of this stuff, you'll see. And again, when you bring it up, or if you bring it up, the women will screech louder. The women will screech louder the closer your words get to damaging or exposing vulnerabilities in their sexual market value. Just keep in mind, it benefits women for you to be naive, to not understand that. Just a good example is girls that go, I don't play games. Well, that's their game. That's the game, is they don't play games. So to make you think, oh, well, I can just relax. I don't have to worry. I can just kind of like whatever she says, I'll take it at face value. And then she stops talking to you because you believed it, that she's not running game. There's girl game that there's just terrible. They can't like approach or any of that, but they have their own filters where they're going to decide whether you're fuck worthy or not. So just know that is part of it. And the louder you get, the more you know, the more savvy you are, the less you can really talk about this to a certain extent, because you know too much. It gets to the point like where Bunny and I will be just talking like normal people, and they'll be talking about, yeah, I just went through a divorce, or we're looking at getting married, or or we just had kids, or we've had kids for the last couple of years and the marriage isn't doing well, or even like later in life where all the kids are out of the house and now it's like a transition. Everybody's at different points, but we have to keep our mouth shut because we do know what's really going on. But the people in front of us don't know what's actually happening. And they sure don't know that we see it for what it is. So it's a strange position to be in. But just know that when you bring something up, if you decide to do so, women will object to it. And when they do object to it, that is confirmation for you to know that you're hitting very close, if not on the absolute truth. And that's the real deal with maxim number 77. Just like we were saying earlier, the closer you get to the truth with women, the more they're going to object. And girls will object to this. As Bunny says, they'll tell you she was just wanting to change. If she cuts her hair short and doesn't have small children at home, this is a qualifier. She's going through something bad. 99.9%, it's related to a man. There's a split, there's a breakup, there's a divorce, discovery of him cheating, and or her married boss, who she's been fucking for 3 years, won't divorce his wife. This is more common than almost everything else I see, and I hear it over and over. Once you really start ferreting things out, if you see a pretty cute single girl, but she doesn't really date around a lot, what's going on in the background 99% of the time is she's banging a coworker or a boss who's married. So just know that that's generally what you're seeing. But with the short hair, something classic example, I should have pulled the picture where, like Britney Spears, when she finally snapped it, she like literally shaved her head. It happens every day at a lesser extent, but girls going in and, their boyfriend decided to take a job in another city and he's gone, or she broke up with him for whatever reason because she didn't like his dog, or her dog didn't like him. So she broke up with him after 5 years. It could be anything. And she wants, as Bunny says, she wanted to change. She will go in and cut her hair off. And all of these actresses, because even though I'm a grown man, there's some actress just recently cut all of her hair off, and then they announced the breakup. And if you look back at her history, she would do this every 7 or 8 years, and it was always, and it wasn't a role, it was always around the time she transitioned from one man to the next man, and she cut her hair off. This would be a good, what I don't know is like when a girl moves like monkey branches, like if it's a smooth transition, if she'll tend to cut her hair off, or if it's more like it's a bad transition. If it's absolutely has to be a bad transition. That's something that we'll probably bring up with Bunny. But just know that from our observations, it's bad. It's where he's broken up with her, or she decides she had to break up with him, because girls hate to be rejected. So they'll take the first strike. But it's a split, it's a breakup, it's a divorce, it's discovery of him cheating, or it's a man who's married who will not leave his wife and girlfriends for her. And so she has to go through a position of, making a change. And this is normal. The things you can know about this is you can key off this. Again, it means she's open for business. Girls after a breakup will tend to start fucking randomly and without commitment, without any, you're not going to have to run real hard game. It's a matter of timing. Girls are open to casual sex after a breakup. When they're going through this, they need validation that they're still attractive, they're still fun, they still can get a guy, which is the most valuable thing in their life. So just know that it is a sign for you. And you don't need to ask about, hey, did you just go through? Yeah, just let her process all that. In fact, it's better off if you don't. Let her process all that stuff, and she meets up with you to have fun. A girl just going through a divorce, we always talk about this. Most guys think she's looking for the next relationship immediately. And some will have a guy for like 12 weeks immediately after a divorce. But then they kind of realize that now they're going to start doing the serial monogamy thing. And so they're more casual about it. But some girls do hit the ground running after a divorce or a breakup, that they want to feel pretty. And Buddy's pointed this out to me too. Even if she does the breaking up, the guys will give the old, you suck in bed, I hate you, you're terrible, nobody's ever going to want to fuck you, you can go fuck yourself. And they need validation that they're still attractive. Guys will still fuck them, that there's still guys that will find them attractive, that they're not terrible in bed. And you'll see all this, just the haircut is a signal of what they're going through inside. And you see it, with actresses, you see it with co-workers, and it's one of those things that you just kind of keep to yourself. But again, if you present yourself as a fun guy and a option, and she's not absolutely insane, you can have a casual relationship for a while that will work for both of you. And it benefits you and it benefits her as she processes whatever she's going through. Again, you don't have to bring up any of the bad stuff. She can process that on her own, or talk to her girlfriends about it, or her orbiters, the guy she's not fucking. And you can be the fun guy and provide a needed service. And that is why, and there is one caveat, I want to put it out there. Moms, it's called the mom cut. They have the baby, they cut the hair, because they think, and as Bunny's conveyed to me, they think it'll be easier to manage, but it's actually harder to manage. And any girl you talk to that's had kids, she will have pictures of her with little ones, maybe toddlers, maybe babies, but they'll have the mom cut. It's just something they all do. And then, like Bunny says, they realize that the short hair is actually harder to take care of than longer hair. And that's the real deal on short hair. And so let's see, Chris D, he's got a decent question. Let's see what, and I'm 23. What's a good politically correct answer when family friends ask if I have a girlfriend? No plans, desire for marriage or kids. Just say, hey, I'm just, I enjoy my independence, and I'm enjoying, being out and about and moving around. That's just push I like my independence. I like having my freedom. And these are lines you're going to need anyway when you get around girls, if you want to kind of like convey that I really value my freedom and independence. I like being able to do as I please. Guys understand this. Women also understand this, especially. And of course, your parents and your family want the best for you. And of course, to them, that means you not taking any risk whatsoever, or, and being, yes, Bunny says, I'm looking for, because you don't want to like just stomp on their feelings. I value my freedom and independence right now. And perhaps if I meet the right girl down the road, these things will change. Again, you have to be very diplomatic about it. Thanks, Bunny, for putting that in there, because you're right. And all parents, because your family cares about you, and it really works on moms who love you unconditionally, even for the most unlovable men. Mom, I really value my freedom and my independence right now, but I'm sure there will be a girl that'll come along. You'll have grandkids. And that's how you deal with that. I'm 23. What's a good that's the politically correct. Again, I value I'm enjoying my freedom and my independence right now. And they know that you're kind of like at a point in your life, and 23 is nice and young, and it'll be a harder sell when you're 40, but if you are, most guys at 23, not all, most guys at 23 are pretty much, still that I value their independence and kind of getting their feet under them. That's the real deal. Okay. So this girl put this, I thought this was key. She says, nothing worse than having a great conversation with a man, and then he says that one thing that reminds you that he's just another man, just like all the rest. And we coach and we tell guys over and over, before you start fucking a girl, from the moment you meet her, through all the text exchanges, to her sitting in front of you, to the minute you start fucking her, and fuck her 3 or 4 times that first week, she's looking for a reason to disqualify you. That is why we suggest the phone is for logistics only. Do not talk her out of it. I couldn't really think of a good tweet that would like encompass everything. But just like online game, you meet her online, get her offline onto text, little sexy banner, little back and forth, set up the date, get off the fucking phone. Because again, all she's looking for with all men before she starts fucking them is a reason to disqualify you. A reason to disqualify them. And again, game is so much of like knowing what not to do. So many guys would be banging far more women if they knew what. They don't need to know what to do. They just need to know what not to do. And the longer you talk, the more words that come out of your brain, the more interactions you have, the greater the chance you'll say something that disqualifies you. And it doesn't, you'll never know what it was. It could have been anything. It could have been like, yeah, I don't really like cats. And she's like, yeah, my ex-husband hated my cat. No, I'm not going to see this guy. I've been through this before. I like my cat. It's really that simple. Again, that he's just a man like any other. Keep it vague. Women like mystery. They will fuck you without knowing your name, your last name for sure. It doesn't matter if they feel good. So remember, the less is more when it comes to game. Don't become her text buddy. The phone is just for logistics until you get in front of each other. Because once you're in front of it, again, online, all of that, all the texting, all the DMs, anything that's not in person is a waste of time. It's only for logistics until you can meet together and get to fucking, because all she's doing at that point is looking for a reason to disqualify you. And the more you talk, the more likely, consciously or unconsciously, you'll say, and she'll try to lure you in too. You'll say something that puts her off and you're disqualified. Again, less is more. Logistics only, little sexy banner, some logistics, and get her in front of you. And then, just like we always say, if she meets up with you, there's a 99% chance she'll fuck you if you don't talk her out of it. That gives you an idea of how important this don't talk her out of it is. It happens all the time. And this girl pretty much just proved, all she has here is one thing that turns everything over. And it's interesting is, why is everybody's like, you might ask, why is it up until I fucked her a few times? Because before you fuck her, she's looking, like I said, hardwired to find a reason not to fuck you. But after she's fucked you 3 or 4 times, then her brain has to start recognizing that she made this decision. Therefore, the things that you do, she'll justify to herself why it's a good idea. It's okay. She has to go, I fucked this guy for a reason. And she'll start working in your favor, in your corner, to solidify her decision to start having sex with you. Again, this is a basic framework. And that's why before you start fucking on a regular basis, logistics only on that phone, just try to stay off of it and get her in front of you and move her from stranger to naked and in your bed, rinse and repeat. And then you can deal with what you want to deal with going forward. But that's the real deal. Before you fuck a girl, she's looking for reasons or a reason to disqualify you. That is why we suggest the phone is for logistics only. Do not talk her out of it. Next slide. Didn't count cocks. What else do we got? Let's go to the walk of shame. Just every once in a while, it never hurts to define what people see. And girls have to do the walk of shame when they're leaving your place or another dude's house or place. The walk of shame is commonly seen on college campuses, urban areas, anywhere between 4 or 5 a.m. to 12 p.m., depending on the day. Girls with fucked up hair, their party dress, going out clothes, heels in their hand, walking back home from a drunken night of debauchery, also known as the victory lap. Slow clapping while she's passing is encouraged. You see this where girls are having to leave a fraternity house in the morning and the guys are already up and she's having to, go down the stairs. She's got her heels. She's walking out. She's waiting for the Uber. This is an example. There was many years that I was running first thing in the morning. So it was around 4:30 or 5. And I have to get into an elevator to leave my building. And so I was getting in the elevator to go downstairs, and this little girl, tiny, and she's got the little black dress, hair's all fucked up. She's got her shoes in her hand. She's completely nothing on her feet, and she's got a bottled water. And I thought that's pretty slick. I don't know if he gave it to her, or what. And then a couple of months later, I see a different girl walking down. She gets her shoes in her hand, and she's got a bottled water. And I realized there's some player that's his system. He gives bottled water out when they're leaving in the morning. The man has got a system, and it happens so often that he actually, he says, okay, I'm going to call you an Uber. Here's the elevator. Here's some water. What a play. Exactly. What a player. So it never hurts to have a system. Like I say, you plan your dates all the way to putting her in the car. Okay. So, but the walk of shame is a very real thing. And you'll see girls, that's when it's so crazy because like where I live, it's an entertainment district. And you'll see it as like late as 11 a.m. Girls will be like just dying, hungover, just shuffling down the sidewalk with, dressed well, but the shoes are in their hand. But yeah, there was a player in my building that had his system down, including hydration and snacks on the way out. So very, very, very put together. That's an excellent system, and we should always take hints from the top guys. Like Buddy says, we had a running joke: grab a bottle of water on your way out. God, that's good. Yes, and again, it works. And again, you can steal this, use it. It just kind of tells the girl that you're full service, and that's the real deal on the walk of shame that everyone sees at some point. So let's talk about, because this is a common subject, but it's important that you understand, like when body count's been a big talk, it's kind of like dying off, which thank God, because it kind of wears me out. But body count matters, and it matters more to some men than to others. Some just don't care. Some care a little bit, as if it's going to be like somebody they marry, which we respect. And some guys, it matters all the time, and that's okay too. You just got to figure out where you want to land. But when guys talk about body count, it's important to recognize that women have sex that doesn't count. It's like Cernovich says here. He says, I've heard that 25 sexual partners is the norm now for women in large cities, and this might be a couple years old, and that's very low. If you were to ask me what a average looking girl with an app who's motivated will rack up in a city in a year, not a lifetime, I'm just talking a year, maybe 2 years, 25 is not that many. It's easy to start, especially when you include the doesn't count, the one night stands, the guy I met at work, I just want to test the waters. Girls are out testing the waters far more than you realize. They want to try a time. I want to fuck a guy who's a musician. I want to fuck a guy who's a skateboarder. I want to fuck a guy who's a pilot. I want to fuck a guy in finance. There's not like any, they just want to try it out, so know that that's there. But that 25 is a lowball number, because these are the ones that don't count across the board. Any one night stand does not count towards their total numbers, because that's why the average number is 3. A girl is going to have a high school boyfriend, serious boyfriend, a serious college boyfriend, and either a serious relationship after college or a husband, and then the ex-husband. So that's 3. If you ever ask them about, how many men have you been with, they'll only tell you about the usually a long-term relationship that's 2 years or longer. If it was only a year, it doesn't really count. They'll tell you that too. So just know that that's where you're getting these numbers of like 3 or 5. So they've got 2 ex-husbands and the other 3. So that's the real deal. Low ball numbers. Don't forget the ones that didn't count. One night stands, business travel. Anytime they're outside, even a coworker that they banged for a couple of years, just on the regular when they're out of town and on business trips, he doesn't count. Vacation does not count. Banging the bartender in Cabo doesn't count. Coworker fucks. Anybody you worked with, oh, it didn't work out. He was a coworker. Yeah, it didn't count. He's married, fucks. Again, the boss who's married, their friend who's married, the random guy they meet at the grocery store, they start banging, they find out he's married. Anything less than 6 months. And usually, like I said, what I've really discovered over time is like really less than 2 years, and they won't count them. Facebook fucks, or friends with benefit fucks, less than 3 weeks fucks, long distance weekend fucks. None of these guys count. And drunk fucks. Oh, I was just drunk. And I was drunk like every time we did it for like 2 years. And so it doesn't count. It doesn't count. Remember that. That's why these numbers, this 25 is like a low ball. I would say it'd be closer to like 35 to 50 for average. These girls are prolific. They work hard at it. It's easy. And guys are always like surprised, but those numbers are way higher. Whatever you're hearing, it's a multiple of that. It's just too easy and it's just too common. There's a lot of sex going on. So just know that's the real deal when it comes to girls and body count. Is there's a lot of doesn't count, and they literally forget about it. They do it and then it doesn't count. It's gone, like out of their head. It's not. Some keep a list, and you'll see the list. The list will have 70 people on it, and you'll say how many guys you slept with. It should be like 20 or 3, and they have a list of 75 because none of these count. So that's the real deal when it comes to body count, and we'll get into that. It's always a good subject. And so that's where we're at today. It is at 30 minutes and 50 seconds. And I appreciate your time. Next Saturday, and we'll announce the time, be it 7, 7:30, or 8. It won't be 8. It'll be 7 or 7:30. Bunny and I will be here together. It's the best time to ask questions because you get to tap into Bunny's girl brain. And she can help us out immensely and give us how girls see this stuff. I appreciate you being here. If you would like any of Bunny's material, like Fuck Like a Porn Star, the series, you can find that at myplayboysbunny.gumroad.com. If you'd like any of mine, especially what has been very popular lately, and maybe because it's summertime, is younger men and older women, your definitive guide to age gap dating. You can find that at fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com. Helps you navigate the minefield of dating women 10, 20, 30 years younger than you. A lot of this is about what not to do, so you don't step on your dick and ruin the vibe. So those are our URLs. Reach out. Thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, comment below, and we will talk to you on Monday morning, 7 a.m.